Warriors who humiliated ancient Rome. Spartacus was born around 103 BC near the Strymon River in ancient Thrace, which is part of modern-day Bulgaria. He came from a nomadic tribe called the Mighty, who often roamed the Greek colonies along the Black Sea coast. As a young man, Spartacus developed his skills as a warrior while serving in the Thracian auxiliaries of the Roman army. He showed great promise as a soldier and gained valuable military experience fighting in regional conflicts. However, in 91 BC, the region of Thrace was officially annexed by Rome. This changed Spartacus's future forever. With the Roman occupation of his homeland, Spartacus found himself on the losing side. He was seized by Roman legionaries as a prisoner of war. But instead of being killed, Spartacus's skills with weapons intrigued his captors. They saw profit to be made and sold the defiant Thracian into slavery. He was transported in chains to the slave markets of Capua in southern Italy, where handsome profits could be made from gladiatorial spectacles. Against his will, Spartacus was condemned to a new brutal existence as a gladiator. As a physically strong prisoner of war, Spartacus was trained in the fierce gladiator school owned by Lentulus Batiatus. He proved himself a natural fighter and was selected for the dangerous but honorable role of a murmillo, a heavily armored warrior who wielded a short sword and large oblong shield. Spartacus's savage skills delighted crowds in the arena, but underneath he harbored a deep hatred for the violent world he was forced into. After years of fighting for others' amusement, Spartacus dreamed only of obtaining his freedom once more. In 73 BC, Spartacus spotted an opportunity during preparations for games being held in Capua. He and a few other gladiators managed to break into the school's armory and armed themselves. Overpowering the guards, they opened the gates and freed their fellow gladiators from their cells. With a small band of rebels, Spartacus raided the outskirts for supplies, then took refuge on the slopes of Mount Vesuvius. More escaped slaves flocked to join the uprising every day, turning a jailbreak into the beginnings of a full-scale revolt. Under Spartacus's bold leadership, then numbers of escaped slaves and shepherds swelling his ranks soon grew into the tens of thousands. Former legionaries and auxiliaries provided valuable military structure and training. Despite their diversity, Spartacus unified the rebels with a message of freedom and defiance against Rome. Campaigning across the countryside, they amassed weapons and supplies while defeating multiple Roman detachments sent to capture them. Spartacus proved himself a strategic genius, constantly surprising the Republic with innovative battle tactics. Morale among his rabble army remained high due to Spartacus's charisma and hope for victory. The Roman Senate took the revolt seriously and dispatched several armies under praetors like Gaius Claudius Glaber to crush the slave insurrection. However, Spartacus used cunning to outwit them. In one ambush, his rebels swarmed down Mount Vesuvius by vine-woven ropes to crush Glaber's forces. 2 consular legions were also defeated in the open field, showing Spartacus was more than just a gladiator. By 72 BC, his army occupied much of southern Italy, while Rome scrambled to find a general capable of defeating the escaped slave. The Senate chose their most cunning and feared commander, Marcus Licinius Crassus, to eliminate the rebel threat. With 8 veteran legions at his command, the wealthy Crassus pursued Spartacus's armies relentlessly. Through superior numbers and stern discipline, he slowly pushed the rebels south towards the port of Rhegium, near the tip of Italy. Spartacus tried negotiating with Cilician pirates to ferry his men to safety across the sea, but was betrayed. Trapped, the rebels had no choice left but to face Crassus in one final battle in 71 BC. Though Spartacus fought bravely, his outnumbered forces were crushed along the banks of the Sile River in Lucania. During the chaotic fighting, Spartacus either fell in combat or went missing, presumed dead. His body was never found. Those rebels not killed on the field were hunted down without mercy in the ensuing days. Around 6,000 survivors captured by Crassus's armies were crucified along the Appian Way as a grim message. Their deaths marked the bloody end. In the aftermath, Crassus rode the wave of his victory to greater political fortunes as the man who defeated Spartacus. However, the rebellion exposed weaknesses in Rome's manpower reliance on slave labor that contributed to economic and social crises in the coming decades. Spartacus's relentless defiance also rallied calls for reform from figures like the Gracchi brothers. His revolt may have been crushed, yet the message of resistance lived on. In poetic defeat, Spartacus secured an immortal legacy as the champion of the oppressed who dared challenge the mighty Roman war machine to ensure he would never be forgotten. Through military experience, charisma, and bravery in battle, Spartacus rose from captive soldier to perhaps the most famous rebel in history against the early Roman Republic. Despite the rebellion's bloody end, he inspired future revolutionary movements who sought freedom, justice, and rights for all people. As a symbol of resistance against tyranny, his example continues influencing generations today. From humble beginnings, Spartacus achieved immortal fame by leading history's largest slave uprising and pushing Rome to the brink through vision, strategy, and courage against overwhelming odds. He proved that even those deemed unimportant could shake the pillars of power through solidarity and an uncompromising desire for liberty.